no one's taking my belt. Like, that's a promise, man. I never come this far to only come this far, you know. I want to be in the UFC, and obviously this is my next step. I need to defend it convincingly against a big name, you know. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that in devastating fashion and move on to bigger things. Yeah. He's a good coach. I think better coach than fighter, in my opinion. But EFC middleweights, come try and get it.
Welcome to the Kick Him in the Head podcast, a podcast that takes an inside look at the world of mixed martial arts, featuring interviews with some of the top fighters from South Africa and around the world, with a focus on the EFC and UFC. I'm your host, Yaw. Today's podcast interview is with the reigning middleweight EFC champion, Luke Michael. We sat down and had a chat with him and found out exactly how he got into MMA and what exactly he wants to achieve within his MMA career. Okay. Luke, welcome to the Kick Him in the Head podcast.
Thanks so much for having me, man. Such an honor to be part of this. Thank you.
No, thank you so much for being here, because you are our first guest on the show.
Wow, that's a privilege, man. Thank you.
Here in blustery Cape Town, where the weather changes, 10 times in an hour.
Yeah. 4 seasons in one day.
I think that's 5 seasons, because 4 seasons in one day is another season altogether.
Exactly, yeah, true. No, but Cape Town's a place to be. Definitely, yeah.
Very interesting place.
Definitely it's a place to be in terms of lifestyle, you know. I've lived in Joburg before, and Cape Town outweighs it by far, in my opinion.
Cape Town.
Yeah. Big Cape Town fan.
So tell me more. Luke Michael, middleweight champion, EFC. How did you get into fighting? What brought you to fighting? What interested you in making someone else bleed, or having dominance or supremacy over an opponent? What brought you to fighting? So
basically, I've always been interested in martial arts, like since a young age, you know. And I remember I watched a movie called Never Back Down, and I was like, literally, I need to do this. I was like obsessed. I googled the nearest MMA gym in my area back when I was living in Goodwood. Actually, this area here. Yeah. And I found the gym, and I was like, but it was just a normal martial arts kickboxing gym. It wasn't really MMA, but I just thought it was something, you know. And then from there, I found a full mixed martial arts studio in Paro, and joined that, and the rest was history, man. I got into amateur MMA, had all my amateur fights, then got the EFC call, and just sort of built my way up, you know. It's not been easy, but we got there.
So I'm curious, how were your first fights when you started doing specifically MMA? Were they intense, and what was the mentality you go
in amateur or professional? Professional, okay.
Because were you ready? Because when you get to professional fight, it's not the same as amateur.
No, it's not the same. It's a completely different ball game, you know.
Fighting someone who knows how to fight.
Yeah. And obviously, you know, you're allowed elbow strikes to the head, you're allowed knee strikes to the head. The rounds are longer. You know, there's more on the line, basically. It's like your career now, you know. So you sort of have to make it work.
So how do you get your head into the game for each fight, especially a big fight, a championship fight? 5 rounds, 5 minutes, let's go.
Well,
What's your pre-fight warm-up routine, or how do you get your head in the game?
Well, basically, I try to reflect on everything I've been through, you know, especially more of a short term, like my training camp, and then long term as well, my whole career, per se, you know, since the amateur days. I try to bottle that all together, you know, and really get tuned into what I need to do to bring the best version of myself into the cage, and allow all those years and months and weeks of work to pay off. You know, it's motivating when you know you put in the work, you know, because hard work breeds confidence. So you know when before you walk out, and you know you put in all the work, you know you're prepared, you know. So mentally, there's that switch which goes on. You're like, this guy's not going to take anything away from me. All the work I put in.
So here's a bit of a screwball question. So you recently had an injury. You couldn't defend the title, unfortunately. Things such as ring rust start to come up. So how are you feeling about defending the title in the upcoming bout that you have? And are you ready? Tell me more about the injury.
Yeah, the injury, I was training for my title defense, EFC 100. I was going to rematch that same guy again. 3 weeks before, I was wrestling with one of my training. We were actually sparring, but I was wrestling him against the fence, picked him up, and I just heard a loud snap in my knee. And I knew something was wrong, you know. Yeah. Then it turns out I tore my ACL, I needed surgery. So yeah, I'm 3.5 months later, rehab. Still a long way to go. You know, they say full recovery takes like 6 to 8 months. So, but I'm putting in the necessary work. In terms of my next fight, I'm excited. I'm excited to see the interim fight in May.
Yes.
May 11th, JP Kruger versus Conrad.
Yeah.
I think JP wins. So then I end up fighting JP. But you know,
Conrad is a legend, though. Like,
yeah,
legendary VIA
yeah,
coach.
yeah. He's a good coach. I think better coach than fighter, in my opinion. But you know, let's see. You know, may the best man win. But in terms of me, I wouldn't say obviously at this moment I'm not ready, like physically. Mentally, I'm in the game, and no one's taking my belt. Like, that's a promise, man. I never come this far to only come this far. You know, I want to be in the UFC, and obviously this is my next step. I need to defend it convincingly against a big name, you know. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that in devastating fashion and move on to bigger things.
Now that's what we like to hear. And soon Khoto, the announcer of Champions from Mopo, will be saying, and still.
That's so funny because I literally spoke to him. I think it was EFC 98 or whatever, just before I was supposed to fight 100. Yes. I was like, bro, are you practicing? Are you practicing? and still EFC Middleweight Champion. Are you practicing? I asked him, and he's like, yeah, I am.
So he's also ready.
Yeah, he's ready. Coach's ready, man. Coach, you ready, baby? Let's go.
I'm ready. So I think I have a few questions for you. Now, this is something that we've been doing with everyone that we meet pretty much, because we want to find out how the fight community feels about fighting.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you a quick pop quiz.
Yes.
And yes, there are a few questions that you could get wrong.
Okay.
I doubt, because they're not that difficult.
Okay.
Luke,
yes.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Who's your favorite fighter?
George St. Pierre.
GSP.
The rush, baby.
Yes.
That's my hero. The rush. There's only one. He's the GOAT.
Is he the GOAT?
I believe he's the GOAT, yeah.
Across all divisions, welterweight?
I would say welterweight GOAT, yeah. John Jones, I think, overall. But I think welterweight, I don't think guys come close to what he done.
Yeah. His record is virtually impeccable. And if you look at who he beats in his run,
yes,
it's a hell of a run.
If you look at the way he fights as well, like 10 years ago, the guys are winning like that now. So he done what he done back then, what guys are doing now. Like in terms of like wrestling guys, keeping them down. He was able to do that back then. And just the competition might not have been that high back then compared to now, but I mean, I still believe that guy was in a league of his own.
If you look at his skill for skill, and like you're saying, what he was managing to achieve, fine on lesser opponents, but he was still doing it.
Yeah.
And that says a lot. We have a lot of fighters who might not do it, and then they beat the lesser fighters. They beat the greater fighters. And it's like, oh, well.
Exactly. Yeah.
But with him, you can easily say if he had to go up against your current welterweight greats, he would probably beat all of them.
I think so, 100%, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I agree.
What's your favorite fighting style?
Fighting style, I'll definitely say wrestling, grappling. Yeah, the fact that you're able to like control and dominate your opponent. You know, I know I have a lot of love and respect for the striking aspect. Obviously, it's beautiful in its own right, but in terms of the ground, you know, that's obviously my game. I like
hold him down, beat him up.
Yeah, like take his will away. You know, he's like when you're on top of someone beating him, there's nothing better. Feel him break underneath you, and that's what I want to do here. Yeah, let's go, man.
Break them, the motivation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What's your favorite move?
My favorite move, triangle choke. I'll definitely say triangle choke. I've won so many fights with that. And I remember in amateur days, everyone knew it's coming, but I still managed to catch him in the same submission. Even in training, I'll be like, I'll triangle you.
They're like, no.
They know it's coming, I'll still do it. So, yeah, that's my game, you know. So I need this leg to come back stronger so I can get back in
triangle.
There. Exactly, yeah.
Just like with wrestling, wrestlers always have their signature moves.
Yeah.
And in MMA, you would think it would be more difficult to have a signature move where someone says, you know this is coming and I'm going to get you.
Yeah.
And the person should, in theory, be able to defend against it because you've told them what's coming.
Yeah, and they know because they watched previous tape.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But when you're so good at what you do, there's no way anyone can
Exactly. The female fighter, Ronda Rousey, she was throwing everyone with the same throw and the same lock. Everyone before they trained for it. And went on for years until someone eventually caught up to it. But
Holly Holm.
Yeah, but Holly Holm, head kick to the face.
That's right.
That's the way you defend. Yeah, kick him in the head. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So but it just shows a skill. If you can do it to someone who knows and who's been preparing to defend it, like Khabib as well. Everyone knew they're going to take He's going to take him down.
He's going to take you down. He's going to wrestle you.
And he's still done it.
A little bit and choke you out.
And that's true skill, like in my opinion. You can still do it, you know.
So quickly talking about Khabib, controversial.
Yes.
You've got DC, Daniel Cormier, who sees him as the greatest fighter ever. You've got a lot of people who have him in your top 1, 2, 3. Where does he sit for you? And let's call it the GOAT list. Now, I know the GOAT list is great because you have multiple divisions, lots of fighters.
Yeah.
But let's just say top 5.
Top 5.
Is he in the top 5?
Definitely. I mean, the guy never lost, you know. I think he lost 1 round only to that 3rd round to Conrad. Yeah. Undefeated, you know, like he dominated everyone. Like, I believe he's up there. Just because the fact that he never even tasted defeat, you know. I mean, GSP, we saw him taste defeat, and he came back. But I mean, like Khabib, I believe he is. And he also had like the perfect career. I think I actually saw GSP say that. He said Khabib had the perfect career because he came in, done his thing, and he retired at a young age, you know.
Now, the retirement, it's not part of the questions, but the retirement. Do you not think, and this is what a lot of people tend to say, is that the early retirement cast a little bit of a shadow on his career / record, simply because if you look at who he fought at the end of his career, even in the UFC, a lot of them were not previous champions. A lot of them did not go on to be champions. A lot of them were not what you would right now or at any point in time call great fighters.
Yeah, I can't argue that.
So yes, he beat Conor.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But Conor was like not in his prime.
He was not in his prime. Yeah. Exactly. And
if I'm honest, no, he wasn't. You could see.
But look, the early time, I agree with GSP, it was a perfect career. I just wish he had put in at least one more to say, yo, listen, 30-0, it's me, true. Forget about it. There's no other voice here. But anyway, that's
no, but you're all right, because he obviously played the game, you know. He knew. Exactly. He didn't care about anything else. He's like, I'm going to retire. I'm going to take my
perfect record.
Exactly. And he proved, if he's happy with what he proved, you know. But there can definitely be questions asked about it.
It's still the greatest one.
Yeah.
How many rounds are there in the championship fights?
5 rounds.
I mean,
when you fight me, only 1. That's it, man. When you fight me, only 1.
You're not going to get to 5.
Yeah, I know.
Name 3 illegal moves.
Name 3 illegal moves. Eye gouging, head butting, and strikes behind the head.
Yeah, the strikes behind the head's a very tricky one though.
Yeah, that's what they fucking done to me. Sorry.
Feel free.
Yeah, my last opponent done that.
How does the strike to the back of the head? How does that feel? Like you're in a fight?
The way it feel like physically.
Yeah, like.
It's like I felt a lot of like pressure, like a lot of pressure at the back of my neck and my head, and it's like it's not really painful, but it feels different to the strike to the front of the face or even the side, where you feel like pain, like sort of pain, but behind the head you just feel like pressure. And I think that's why it's dangerous, maybe.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure.
That's right there. It's a problem. It's your spine as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Do you know how to fight? Okay, this sounds funny.
Yeah. Born and bred, baby. Born and bred. See my blood.
For the fighters.
See my blood.
What's your favorite movie about fighting? I think I know this one.
My movie about fighting, I would definitely say Never Back Down. Yeah, Never Back Down, man. That's about MMA and how he was bullied, and he showed the bully who's boss.
He got better than the bully.
Yeah, he got better. He bullied the bully. That's always a nice story, you know.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how big of an MMA enthusiast are you?
11.
All MMA. Forget other fighting styles. They all have to come in and be part of MMA.
Yeah. No, I'm a big fan of the sport as well. You know, I really enjoy watching EFC, UFC. I'm a big fan of the sport, and I believe we're all just here on this journey together, man. And we must make it count, because it's not forever.
Yeah, that's
so. We're gonna just make this chapter count. Yeah.
So you've been with the EFC for a couple of years, and obviously you're a reigning champion, but in terms of your time, what has been the most exciting fights that you've had? What has been that fight where you look back and say, I think the hell out of that man. That man, I feel sorry for his kids because they'll have to watch that fight.
Yeah. I would say my second last fight where I won the number 1 contendership against Dino Bagatti. Yeah.
Legend.
Yeah, the legend. You know, it was nice to show that these levels, you know, and I was able to like really show what I can do against a game opponent. You know?
I mean, he's skilled, he's experienced, he's been in the game for years, so he knows what to do. to win a fight or
and,
not to be beaten.
Yes. And it's so ironic because, you know what, when I finished him the way I did, a lot of people were like, oh no, he's done. And they took away the credit from my performance.
Fair enough.
Whereas if you watch, before we fought, he fought Yaw Yeboah, who's a tough guy, you know, still active, and they went 3 rounds. Like a year before we fought. I came in there, I beat him in like a minute. You know,
that was his last fight, right?
Yeah, before me. Yeah, before me. So he was still in the game. I was able that night to show up. You know, and I want to keep that momentum going, you know. Like my last performance, not that great, but I'm going to be back, you know, and I'll be back to show my true potential, basically.
So after you defend your title, obviously the interim title is coming. You'll be fully healed by then.
Yeah.
What do you want? What are you going to be looking at?
UFC, man. I have to. I have to. You know, I want to be in UFC, man. I really want to. It's a childhood dream of mine. To be honest, I feel like I could have actually been there already, but you know, everyone's journey is different, and I made certain choices, and there was a lot of change in my career early on. But I feel like I'm on track now. You know, I got the ball. I'm still in it. I just turned 28 a few months ago. I got time, you know, so I just want to defend my belt with EFC. Get some solid finishes, because I know that's what I need to do. And hopefully they can help me out, man, because I know a lot of EFC champions went to UFC. So, yeah, I'm going to be consistent with my training and my performances. And then I didn't see why not, you know, next few years. I'm 28 years old, you know, I can be there next 2 years.
Got the time, you got the skill.
Yeah, thank you.
You've got Drickers over there doing his thing.
Yeah, doing well. Yeah, they putting us on the map, you know.
Yep.
They're laying the trajectory for us to follow, so it's amazing to see.
And he makes sure, he always says, listen, I'm from Pretoria.
Yeah.
I'm from South Africa.
Yeah, he lives and trains here. No, respect to those guys, man. Wow, top 5 in the world. It's amazing. UFC needs to do a show in South Africa, man, and sign all the champions.
I think so. That would be amazing.
Yeah, they have to. Yeah, I think they have to.
Take Africa to the UFC.
Yeah.
I actually started supporting UFC and really getting into MMA when we had 3 simultaneous African champions.
Wow, yeah.
The 3
Usman,
kings. Usman, Ngannou, that's it. That's when I was like, you know what? There's no way this sport cannot be for me, because
clearly, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And that's really when I got the passion for MMA and for fighting.
Yes.
That happening.
Yeah, it was amazing, you know, that time, and I don't think that ever dies. Even though they don't have the belts at the moment, you know, that season impacted MMA forever.
It did. Now you've got 3 Mexican champions at the same time, which is also quite interesting.
3.
Alexa Grasso, interim. Yair Rodriguez is interim.
Oh yeah. But that guy's good. I don't think he can beat Volkov.
Volkanovski's. I agree. Look, the Volk, you know.
Yeah. Although that guy's kicks are deadly, man.
He was pound for pound for a reason.
Kicks, you got. Yeah.
I mean, even went up a weight class, and sure he lost in decision, but go up weight class, much more.
No, I was talking about Rodriguez kicks. He could give trouble to Volkov with those kicks.
That's true.
I don't know, but maybe, yeah. Let's see. But you're right about Volkov as well. Went up, took Islam 5 rounds.
I mean, that's Islam.
Islam Makhachev.
Oliveira.
I thought Islam's gonna smoke him quickly, and he never. He got up, took him down, got up, took him down. It was amazing. Wow. Crazy.
So in your time, I'm also very curious. So with your time in the EFC, it must have been very tumultuous, up and down.
Yeah.
What issues have you really had, and what issues would you like to bring to the fore? I think let me change that question.
Yeah.
Slightly. That's a very provocative question.
No, you can though. I can answer it.
Okay, so cut, retake.
Yeah.
I'll cut that out.
Okay, cool.
So you've been with the UFC for a couple of years.
EFC.
So you've been with the EFC for a couple of years.
Bro.
It's prophecy. I'm putting it up there, right?
Come on, man. Coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
I'm sure it must have been tumultuous, ups and downs. What issues have you had? And, what issues have you had in your time in MMA? Let me leave that question there.
I think a big thing for me, I changed camps quite a lot, you know. I started off with my first coach in Cape Town for like good 4 years. I got a good foundation from there. But from then we went separate ways. I was at FFM. I was back in Cape Town, you know. So I think there was a bit of inconsistency from my side there, and as a result, my performances maybe showed. But right now, I'm in a good space, like I said, and I got everything on track. I know where I need to be. I know my short and long-term goals, and I'm basically on track now. In terms of EFC, it's a great promotion. I'm very excited to be the middleweight champion, and the belts are going anywhere, man. It's just gonna set me up for bigger things.
100%.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to seeing you as not just a multiple time middleweight champion, but also in the near future, I'm sure, as I prophesied in this interview,
Thank you.
a future UFC champion,
Yeah.
middleweight, whatever weight class you end up
Yes,
fighting,
yes,
weight class change.
Yes. Yeah, in UFC, I would definitely fight welterweight. Yeah. Like my...
big.
Yeah, no, I'm not a middleweight. Like, after I beat Gino, they offered me to fight for a middleweight title. I'm not the biggest middleweight, but so I believe internationally I'll cut to welterweight. For EFC, I'll fight middleweight, I'm not scared of these guys.
Yeah.
But for UFC, I think I'll drop down.
For international skills.
For international, I'll drop down, which I can do, But for EFC middleweights, come try and get it.
It's time.
Yeah.
So who would you be calling out? After JP or Conrad win, whoever you fight, you're obviously going to win.
I'm obviously going to win.
Who would you want to fight next?
In EFC middleweight division.
If you're in EFC.
There's a couple of guys up there. I think I'm just trying to think of guys on a win streak. Diego Bandu, he's tough. He's
Yes.
tough opponent. Yeah. If he wins again, because I know he came off a loss now. I think that would be a good one. Yaku Duplessis, I think he's in EFC still. I'll see if I know in Dubai or something.
Yeah.
There's a few more we had a few fights, and let's see where their win streak goes. But obviously, right now I'm only focused on my recovery. Number one, number two is the next fight. I don't care about the fights after that, But it's a good time to have a nice little plan now,
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Dude, there's a lot of people who might want to get in touch with you. Can you please share with us your social media handles so that whoever wants to get in touch with you, especially the UFC?
Please, come on. Luke Michael MMA on Instagram, Luke Michael MMA on Twitter, and just Luke Michael on Facebook. Normal, Luke Michael. Yeah. Remember the name, baby.
Remember the name.
Thank you so much for having me, man.
Thank you so much for coming on
It's
the
an honor.
podcast.
Thank you, man.
And we'll definitely be speaking to you again once you've won that title, and we'll be finding out how was the fight. How was the fight? That's basically what we're going to talk about.
Look forward to it. Thank you so much,
Thank you so
man.
much.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
And that's it for today. Thank you everyone for listening to Kick Them in the Head podcast. We have a lot more amazing interviews coming with the top fighters, not just from South Africa, but from everywhere in the world. And we look forward to bringing you more amazing content. Signing off. Cheers.